Hello, hello, everyone.
Hello there.
Welcome on this Tuesday night. Thank you guys for joining us. Not our usual
Hey.
Wednesday night. So if you are here with us on a Tuesday, we appreciate it very much. This
What
is
what do you guys do on
episode
Tuesdays?
this is episode 202 of the Real Football Fans of New Jersey, and this is a special edition mini episode. This is a draft themed episode as we are, in draft week for the NFL. It will be starting on Thursday. So we are going to have a mini episode for you tonight, and the fact that we are not covering any housewives tonight. So we'll give you all the juicy housewives stories next week. But tonight is all about the theme of the NFL draft in just 2 short days. Our outline is a little bit different tonight, but again,
Yes.
all draft coverage. We've got polls, we've got predictions, we've got, games. So it's a lot to cover. And honestly, this was a great episode to get prepared for. Just, because in 2 days, I want to kind of know where we're at, where the Giants are at. We got 2 first-round picks.
I'm
And
nervous.
dive into what we think, might happen, especially in the first round of the NFL draft on Thursday. It was good to do a little research on that and kind of get ourselves prepped.
I mean, yeah, especially people like me that avoid mock drafts until literally like the day before. And obviously, we had to, I had to throw in the towel one day early this year. And it's not that people, I scroll past them. I glance at some people, but I'm not the one who really sits down. I can't bring myself to do it because even we'll get into some details tonight. And I wonder how many people had the same mindset as me on certain things, and then we get to Thursday and it's probably completely different than anything anyone had ever thought. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It just, for me, it's a little crazy to get into them. It gives me anxiety, to be honest, but I did have to, again, throw in the towel for tonight's episode. So
Well, I think what's kind of exciting about the 2022 NFL draft is that I do feel it's going to be a little unexpected. I feel like there's been drafts in the past where not only do you kind of know definitely who's going to be number one. We've had drafts where it seems like a lock, and we definitely know 1, 2, and 3. I feel like this could be a shakeup. I've read so many mock drafts. I've seen so many different things. Nobody is necessarily on the same page with each other. I think it's going to be a wild and unpredictable draft.
there are so many possible scenarios. 1, 2, 3, the entire first round, obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are it's combinations of a lock. You can make so many different ones. I think you just hit it perfectly. This is not a year where you can confidently say, I know exactly what the top 3 picks are, because I'm telling you now, you don't.
A lot of teams too that have multiple first rounders. So that definitely calls for some trades for sure. Not going to be surprised if we see multiple trades in the first round.
This will be one of the most heavily traded first rounds, in my opinion, with I think 5+ trades. I know that's a little bit. I think it's going to be one of the heaviest.
It could happen.
It's going to be a trade frenzy, and I think the Giants might be involved in that. So we could see that for sure.
But that kind of ties into our poll questions, at least our first one here. We want to give you the results of our poll questions that we asked you, 3 NFL draft themed questions that we put on our social media pages. And this first one this is kind of like a little bit of chatter that's been going on around the league. Should the New York Jets trade their number 10 overall draft pick to San Fran for wide receiver Deebo Samuel? Now, keep in mind, the Jets do also have the number 4 overall draft pick. So, they're giving away the 10 for Deebo, keeping number 4. Would you do this? Should the New York Jets do this? 83% of you said yes. Caitlin, what did you go with?
It's a no-brainer, in my opinion. The Jets, even if they keep that 10 spot, they're going after a wide receiver anyway. And I think the wide receivers in this draft are very interesting, as there's so much talent, but can that talent be overridden by linemen, pass rushers, cornerbacks, things like that. That could happen. And that's going to push probably some wide receivers out. So that 10 spot looks nice for them. And I think that's what they would do anyway at that spot. So if you have the option to trade with San Francisco and get Deebo Samuel, an already well-rounded going into his fourth season in the NFL, wide receiver with a younger quarterback like the Jets, hell yeah, advance on that opportunity.
I went with yes as well. And I agree with you that it's a no-brainer. And the reason I say that is because Deebo is still young. He's still got a long career ahead.
Long career.
So, you can never predict injuries and stuff like that, but hopefully a long career ahead of him. And to me, number 10, and you can argue number 1, number 2, number 3, nothing is set in stone anymore. And number 10 to me is like, we've seen bust picks at number 1. Number 10 could be hit or miss. You never know. Why not just go with a guy who's still young and know that he is a surefire bet, one of the best receivers in the league? That's a position that you need. You still get to keep your 4 pick to do what you want with that. I agree with you, Kate. It's a no-brainer. 83% of you agree it's a no-brainer. I would 100% go after Deebo.
Just do it.
Number 2, will Kenny Pickett be the first quarterback drafted? 61% of you said no. We're going to kind of get into it later. I don't know if we should reveal our answers.
Maybe we shouldn't. Let's not reveal our answers. We'll talk about it later. But again, obviously, if you guys are watching right now live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, give us your responses. If you didn't already respond to our polls earlier, go ahead. Give us your answers to these 2. We can talk about them for sure. So obviously, we're not going to tell you if we think Kenny Pickett's off the board first. We'll get back into that later. But if you guys watching now want to give us your insight, please go ahead. So,
and we'll keep this last one a little mysterious as well. But
spooky.
Will 3+ quarterbacks be drafted in the first round? 60% of you said no.
Yeah.
So we will dive into that as well.
Yeah, I think that's actually a little bit low for the no. I thought the no response would actually be a little bit higher. So that's the only insight I'll give to give on that one. I'm not giving you my answer. I'm actually just a little surprised that it was only at 60%. So and a ton of week after week, we got a ton of responses. So thank you guys. As always. But yeah, I mean, listen, we're here to talk, all things draft. We just asked some pretty good questions that have been top of mind for many people over the last couple of weeks, some over the last couple of months. And as we inch closer, 2 days away from the 2022 NFL draft, these are the questions that are going to just keep inching as we inch closer. They're going to become even more top of mind. More scenarios that we didn't even discuss, we will discuss a little bit later, are going to come up. So it's 2 days. It seems like a short time, but a lot can actually go down in 2 days especially when we're talking draft time.
Also, don't forget about, I know, obviously now that we're here with the draft and free agency has really quieted down. Just think about the quarterback position and guys to pay attention to, guys like Jimmy Garoppolo, Baker Mayfield. Mm-hmm. We could see things happen with guys like that right before the draft. Or we can see things happen with them right at the conclusion of the draft. Right. So I understand that free agency has gotten a little bit quieter, but once the draft shakes out and all is said and done, and there are teams that still need certain guys at certain positions, we're going to see free agency pick up again. So definitely keep an eye on that. We'll keep you posted as much as we can on all of our social media pages.
Absolutely. All righty. So we are getting into our second area of the episode. So Katie and I are going to give you our top 5 pick predictions. We're not doing the whole first round for you. That's batshit crazy. I'm not giving you, we could give you the entire Giants draft too. We're not doing that. That's kind of the area where I'm I can't physically, my mind can't wrap myself around that. So we're going to give you our top 5 pick predictions, but the kicker here is that no trades happen. We're going to give you our picks if no trades happen. So it could Like I said, I predicted
Right.
5+ trades going on in the first round. We're just going to give you straight up what we think is going to happen. No trades, just, 5 picks, 5 teams, 5 picks.
Yeah.
So how do you want to do it? Do you want to go from Jacksonville to the New York Giants one by one and each give our
Let's
pick?
go 1 through 5, starting with Jacksonville at 1.
That's what I meant. So do you want both of us to do Jacksonville first and then we move
Yep.
on to Detroit? Okay. So with the number 1 overall pick of the 22 NFL draft, Katie, who do you think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to take?
I've been saying it for weeks now on our show when it's been asked, when it's been brought up. I got to stick with my guns here. I'm going with defensive end Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan.
All righty. So I kind of spiced mine up a bit. So, and I think it's one of those things where anything can happen. These are all 5 of my picks. I think could be a little spicy. A lot of no name guys though, but I am going with offensive lineman, Icky Khan. Sorry, Khan. It's Icky so easy, but it's
Equinu.
Equinu. Damn it. I knew it. You know what? I practiced too before the show. I really sincerely did. Equinu. I really practiced. And then I'm just obsessed with the name Icky. That's why.
I like one because I think Kate, I know you've been saying for weeks now, when I've been saying Aiden Hutchinson, you've been saying, get a lineman, protect your franchise quarterback, protect your young quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. And this is a dark horse first pick, but I've seen it in the mocks.
Yep.
And it could be for exactly like you said, like protect that young quarterback, make sure he's upright. We've got, we have, I think, a couple of Pro Bowl caliber offensive linemen in these first couple of picks. So I wouldn't necessarily be surprised, but that's, an interesting pick.
Yeah, and that's definitely my reasoning for it. The Jacksonville Jaguars need a laundry list of positions. For me, my biggest thing would be protecting Trevor Lawrence, like you had just said. And I have been saying that for weeks. I think Aiden Hutchinson is a very talented player, and he's going to go when he goes. I think these teams, though, really not need to pull the trigger on maybe the most talented person in the draft and look at what you need skill-wise per position at this time. So at this time. So for me, and Icky is one of the most versatile linemen in this group. I'll talk about that a little later, actually. He really is. So I think this would be a great pick for them for sure.
All
right. Number 2, the Detroit Lions, the 2nd overall pick. Who do you have them taking?
So I will say, I thought this out of the 5 was kind of my hardest one to pick. I saw a lot of things all over the board in different mock drafts, but basically a lot of what I saw was if you didn't take Aiden Hutchinson going to Jacksonville, you had him going to Detroit at 2. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I have Aiden off the board, but I'm going to stick with the same position. I'm going to go with defensive end Travon Walker out of Georgia.
I like that pick. He is not in my top 5, full disclaimer. But he's again a very, very talented player. Had to play Georgia a couple times this season from an Alabama standpoint. So I know these guys well, and clearly their talents peaked way at the end of the season to win that national championship. So a lot of these guys you are seeing are that national champion caliber, and really drove Georgia to their success in the past couple seasons. So I think it's a good pick for sure. So mine is something that people say will not be done this early in a draft ever at a number 2 pick. I think it can be done straight up based on this kid's skill. He is good. He's going to be around in the NFL for a very long time, in my opinion. I am going with cornerback Sauce Gardner, also known as Ahmad Gardner, but we like to give a little Nicky name poo to Sauce. But yeah, honestly, it's, to me, you guys know, I love the positions that don't always get, the front page, the cover, the tabloids, the headlines. I love the guys that are going in, they're getting the work done. They're getting, I love a good cornerback. I love a good lineman. I love these positions. So for a kid like this, with this talent, for me to see him coming in the number 2 pick, I love it. And I'll eat that up. If it actually happens on draft night, I'll be very, very happy.
All right.
All righty. Number 3, the Houston Texans. They have the 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft. Katie, who do you have going to them?
Not that crazy for you to have Sauce at number 2 because I got him at number 3. So I am going with cornerback Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati. I've read many articles kind of describing him as the guy who is going to live up to the hype of his draft status. He is going to come in and set the league on fire.
I'm excited to watch him.
To me, I'm not going to be surprised to see him off the board early. Kate, you got him at 2. I got him at 3. I think he's going to be an impact player like right off the bat.
So with Houston, for me, I think they're going to be a team. They're kind of like, don't really know what's going on. They'll be the team that's going to pick best available. And for me, that's Aiden Hutchinson at this time. So that's who they'll go after. And Houston, another team that needs a laundry list full of positions. So he'd be very beneficial down in Houston.
All right.
Alrighty, number 4, we're in New York, but we're not with the Giants yet. It's very interesting to have that 4-5 slot to both New York teams, and it's keeping me on edge, and it's getting my palms very sweaty as we move into Thursday. The New York Jets have the number 4 overall pick in the NFL draft. Katie, who do you have them selecting?
So with the 4th pick, our little brother, the New York Jets, I have
one final dig before Thursday.
I have them taking already four picks in. My 3rd defensive end in 4 picks. I have them taking Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon. The Jets, as much as like they've always for years now needed offensive talent, and of course they did draft Zach Wilson, but they're notorious for taking defensive players in the 1st round, notorious for taking best on the board defensive player in the 1st round. I think this is probably going to could very likely be their guy at 4.
Katie, we have the same number 4 overall pick. And we do. We're in the same exact mindset as well. Again, another team that definitely needs a lot. But if you look back on years past, kind of where their trends lie with the draft, what they're kind of doing mindset wise, I think defense is always front and center, no matter how hard or how much they need to fix that offense and other things that they need to do. Like they're going to draft that defense. And if he's clearly there, he's on the board, makes a lot of sense for them, in my opinion. Kills me because I would love to see the magical 5 kneel for the New York Giants, 7 gave on Thibodeau. But so I do. But realistically, putting all my hopes and dreams aside, if he's there at number 4 for the Jets, I think it's a good slide in for them.
Well, I like what you said too at the beginning of the show as well, when we were discussing the Jets possibly giving up their 10 pick to acquire Deebo Samuel. I think 4 is like we just said, they always need offensive weapons. Right. I don't think there's a wide receiver that I would take at 4 in this draft, but I think you could comfortably sit at 10. Let's say they don't go after Deebo. They could comfortably sit at 10 and have their crack at either the number 1 or number 2 wide receiver in this class.
I think it might even
they can sit pretty. I think ball's in their court to kind of maybe take a defensive player or best available at 4 and sit at 10 and grab that offensive weapon that we're talking about.
Absolutely. All righty. And then number 5, we have the 5th overall pick, the New York Giants. Katie, we've got a lot on our slate as well that we need. There's some clear no-brainers of what we need, but who do you have the Giants at number 5?
If this shakes out how I have it, an offensive lineman has not been taken my 1 through 4, which leaves the Giants to, I would think, take who they like best at the offensive line position. That seems like a no-brainer to me. But the Giants do like to get weird at draft time. You never know.
Always.
I think they and I think I am going to go with offensive tackle Ike Ekwonu out of NC State. So you have him at 1. I have him at 5. I just I don't know. I just get this feeling that that's who the Giants like, especially if he's sitting there available for them.
Yeah. Obviously for me in my draft, he is not sitting at number 5 for us, which is definitely realistic. But that gives us room to go after offensive lineman Evan Neal. And for me, that would be a Bama boy. I know his skills. He's very, very talented. I think we need to kind of look at other linemen in the rest of the draft, though, with Daniel Jones and his quarterback style, and just being I'm pretty sure he's a lefty. So understanding that dynamic as well, that just kind of like doesn't screw up the line structure, but you need to have like really good solid areas on both sides of him. So we're gonna have to think about that a little bit more. So when we're looking at positions like guard and stuff like that, like can they be versatile? I'm not 100% sure. These kids are coming out of college, so they're going to have to be played around with a little bit in the NFL. There's been many instances, though, where someone comes in as one position and they kind of move you around just to see. My biggest
always helps an offensive lineman's draft status is always the potential of, are you able to play multiple spots on the offensive line?
Right.
Because in the NFL, you're going to be expected to do so. People are going to get injured. And if you are a guy that is versatile enough where we can move you if we need to move you, that's obviously super attractive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think obviously I think, the Giants are in, good hands now with coaching and management and things like that. In the past, one of my biggest frustrations was doing work with these linemen. That one draft, we drafted so many, but then none of them ever played. And our starters were playing so poorly. So why didn't you just start other guys, throw people into the mix? Because like you said, if you're coming into the NFL as a lineman, you need to be versatile. I need to be able to put you, where I need to put you if something happens. So I think that's been a fault of ours in the past. So that's why I brought that up. Like, let's look at the scope of things. If you're going to go Evan Neal at 5, that's great. But now you judge him of what he's done in the past, where he's strong. Now let's look at every other lineman that we're going to go after in this draft. How do they fit into the mix of things? So, but I would love it as well. If Icky's available, I would not be disappointed with that at number 5. We need linemen so badly. That is our biggest thing in this draft this year. So bring them on. Bring me my linemen. And at number 5, it's got to be the best of the best in this class. So, and who's on the board. So
absolutely. Totally agree with you there. Let's see what else we potentially agree on as we get to our game for the night, our famous game, Sit, Yo, Drank, and Fill in Yo Blank. We did play this last year during our draft-themed episode. A lot of the questions are the same. Some of them are different just based on the theme of this specific draft and kind of like hot topics of things that might be going on. But yeah, we have 10 fill-in-the-blank questions here, and we'll kick it off with number 1. I think the number of quarterbacks to be drafted in the first round this year will be blank. Kate?
So I am going with 2. Do I agree with it? No. But I think that it'll be 2.
I'm going with 3. Do I agree with it? No. Do I think it will be 3? Yes. So that being said, question number 2, I think the first round drafted quarterbacks will go in this order, blank.
So I'm going with Malik Willis to be the first one taken off the board, followed by Kenny Pickett.
And I'm going with Malik Willis first. I think a very potential target could be the Carolina Panthers. Yep. I see Kenny Pickett being the second drafted quarterback. And I feel like this is a dark horse because I know that me saying 3 will go is based on our poll is like a little controversial. Right. Not everybody thinks that. I'm going to say that just a dark horse, weird team maybe is at the end of the first is going to take Matt Corral. So I'm going to go with 3. Weird things happen, especially with quarterbacks and teams that are in desperate need of one. So I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah. I wonder too. So this will be a little interesting. So I wonder, and this is like really outside of the box, me thinking right now but taking the first round is still a little tricky. I wonder, say some of those guys, maybe it's only 1. Like maybe we only see Willis in the first round, and a couple of guys could fall over into the second. I wonder if it would be on a team strategy to pick up a really solid, quarterback in this draft, later on, because I don't think they should go in the first round, in my opinion, and use that for, I guess, trade, things like that, for a team that might be desperate. what can I do? Or someone who needs to advance probably in the future. Maybe they're not desperate this season, but let me hold on to him now and use him later because I'm not wasting a first round pick on this individual. I'm going to get him later, but here's what I can get in the future from him. So a little out of the box thinking right there, but I just kind of like sparked my right a little bit.
Well, a team I think to keep an eye on too, by the way, with my answer is don't sleep on the fact that Detroit has the 2 pick, but they also have the last pick of the first round. And I have read some weird mock drafts where with the last pick in the first round, they snag a quarterback. So that could be a potential Matt Corral spot.
No, they need so much more. Just stick with Jared Goff. You need so much more.
I'm not saying that this is what teams should do. I'm just saying I have a weird feeling it's going to happen. So
yeah.
All right, number 3, the top 3 positions I want the Giants to focus on in the draft are blank.
So obviously offensive line, need it. We do need a pass rusher. I'll be okay with taking 1 or 2. A little focus more on like other defensive positions as well. Let's take a look there. And then also, I think we could be successful later in the draft, especially if that number 7 pick turns into real estate for us. We need a tight end. It's very simple. It's plain and simple. And I think we could actually find someone in the 3rd or the 4th round. And I think we'd be able to be successful with this individual. So, yeah, that's what I got.
Ding, 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 ding. We are exactly the same in the exact same order that you said it. And my exact same reasoning for tight end is that, like, I'm not even saying that we need to take a tight end in the 2nd or 3rd round. I'm talking about like, it's just a position at some point in the draft.
We got to find it.
Addressed. And I do think it's a strong tight end class. And I do think we could find a gem in the 4th, the 5th.
Absolutely.
But it is a position that I do want to see them draft somebody.
I agree. Yep.
All right, number 4. If I had to say, I think the blank should target a running back in the 1st round.
So I guess the asterisk here is if I had to say, no running back should be going in the 1st round. I'm telling you guys that. That's even more aggressive than the quarterback. I'd actually say a quarterback will go. You should not be taking a running back. And no team really even needs one that desperately. But if I had to pick a team, I guess I'm going to go with the Chargers on this one because you have Austin Eckler, who's very talented, but you look at injuries and you kind of look at, they don't even have a 4th one right now. They just have 3. I don't know who their other 2 are, to be honest. I don't know if they're here for the long term or they could really back him up. So but for me, that yells desperation in the 1st round in this specific draft. They could find someone later on, but that's the only team that really stood out to me.
All right. I'm like basically on the same page with you where I put no one asterisk. No one should be taking a running back in the 1st round. Also, just because I don't think there's any running backs this year that are 1st round caliber running backs.
No, they're not.
But as far as, and again, I've been saying this for a couple weeks now on our show, just based on games and research that we've done, we're actually becoming a league again where there's like, I think there's a lot of good running backs. And so what I did was I pulled up, we played a game a couple weeks ago where we pulled everybody's starting quarterback, wide receiver, running back. I looked at all 32 teams RB1. Yeah. And honestly, nobody's in serious trouble. I would say the worst, and this is going to be my answer, I would say the worst RB1 in the league right now is Houston with Rex Burkhead. So I'm going to go with Houston.
Yeah. But again, that's a desperation.
Yeah, no, like none of this needs to, we both agree, none of it should or needs to be happening in the 1st round. But. All right, number 5, the offensive prospect I think will make the most immediate impact this season will be blank.
I'm going with Icky on this one, just because I think he is one of the most versatile linemen. We just brought that up before with the New York Giants, like making that argument of finding these guys. And what I mean by versatile is moving him up and down the line, but I think he's versatile team per team too. He will not go to a bad team and struggle. He will go to any team in this league and do very well and help that team how he needs to help that team. I don't care if it's the Jacksonville Jaguars, or or literally the Rams. Like he could go on any team and do his best. And I think that's really what pushes him to like that. And I put him as my first overall pick. Like that's why I put him there, because of that talent. He has that caliber. So for me, offensively, he's going to be the one that stands out the most this year.
Ding, 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 ding. I went with Icky as well. Caitlin's got him at 1. I've got him at 5 to the Giants. Either scenario, he's going to be expected to, play right away. I think he's going to make an immediate impact. I think he's definitely one of the top overall prospects at any position in this year's draft. So I am going with Icky as well. All right, number 6, the defensive prospect I think will make the most immediate impact this season will be blank.
I kept the trend going with the fun names because I did pick Sauce on this one. So I did pick Sauce Gardner, cornerback for Cincinnati. And I honestly, again, a guy where it doesn't matter what team he falls to. I think he's going to be successful for them. Because then if you look at all our defensive positions, I'll take like Aiden Hutchinson, for example. I won't bring Thibodeau into the mix, but let's look at like an Aiden Hutchinson. I picked him to go to Houston at 3. I don't understand. I mean, I didn't mean to say understand. I don't fully believe that he'll bring that caliber and that talent to a team that is just so unbelievably bad and so unbelievably like unorganized. Like that might get to him. I see that as him as an individual and as a player, like those kind of things getting to his head and like not being able to produce what he's able to produce on a daily basis as the athlete, as the edge as he is. So for me, like defensive wise, I had to give this a Sauce because he, to me, will be that player on any team. And he's that player that we're going to see years to come, just being very successful. So right off the bat, we're going to see it.
Ding, 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 ding. I went with Sauce as well. I'm definitely expecting him to come in right away and, be a shutdown corner in the league. And like you said, a player who will be successful for years to come. So right. We agree there. Number 7, I would like the Giants to draft blank at the number 5 spot.
I did say it earlier as my prediction. I hope it does come true. I am going to go with Evan Neal at the number 5 spot.
All right. So I went with a twofer because we're going to be happy either way. I think I'm going Evan Neal, offensive tackle, or offensive tackle Icky Ekwonu.
I would be happy with either as well.
Totally happy with either one. I think the 7.
I don't know who we're going to pick. It gives me butterflies.
The 7 is a little up in the air, but I really truly believe 5 has to be and will be an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Number 8, I would like the Giants to draft blank at the number 7 spot.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, in the weeks leading up to the draft, even months ago when we first initially started talking about it, like where we knew the Giants' real estate was, what we needed, you guys know I went on rants after rants, like get just all offensive linemen. That's all we need, everything like that. But as we've gotten closer, we're inching closer to Thursday. If Kayvon Thibodeau is available at number 7, I can't pass up that opportunity because we do need edge rushers. And I think that if that's the way it falls for us, 5 to 7, that means other linemen are actually being pushed further back. So that's a good thing for us. I think other teams are going to, I think a lot of teams in this draft need linemen, which is kind of scary too. So that might be a reason to pick up again at number 7. But I think that if he's available, take him. I get concerned that he's not going to be available. So as much as I want him, I don't think it's realistic. I think the Giants are going to do some sort of trade scenario at 7. And if that is the case, if anyone in the New York Giants organization is watching us right now, I just beg for you to make the smartest trade move of your life, of your entire life, of this entire franchise. We are back-to-back 5 to 7 in a draft that's filled with positions we need.
Yeah.
Don't mess this up.
Yes.
Don't fuck it up. So that's all I have to say.
I agree. And so mine is very similar to you in the fact of the question specifically states who we want. Realistically, I have two people here. I realistically, according to your top five that we think and my top five,
Right.
both of these guys would already be gone in both of ours. So I don't know if somebody is going to fall to us at 7 here, but my ideal scenario would be, and this is not necessarily a position we desperately need, I just think it would be a best on the board scenario, would be a cornerback Sauce Gardner, or I went with defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau.
Listen, both of those would be
we need a pass rusher. If either one of those is there at 7, one of those guys, that would be great for the Giants.
Absolutely.
All right, number 9, with the Jets drafting just one pick before the Giants, I could see them drafting blank.
Yeah, I mean, despite what I said like earlier, like that was like my official like pick list. I think like, and that was me. I kind of made some like extreme moves, I feel, in my top, not extreme, but like moved some things around like from like what the general public might see. I think naturally a lineman might fall to the Jets. So I can see it again. I know we've brought their names up many a times, but these are your top 5 players. I can see Icky or Neal falling to the Jets at number 4. So, and I think that would be something for them to advance on. But again, you know, we've talked about the history of them going after defensive players. If Kayvon Thibodeau is there, they might do that. But I think like kind of maybe naturally, if a lineman falls at that position, they might go after it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of went with what I picked as my prediction earlier, but I'm going with defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau. I think it could be him. I've seen Sauce at 4 to them. I've seen Evan Neal at 4 to them. It might really just be at 4, like who lands where they land there, like
right.
what the board is looking like. I could see so many different scenarios, but I'm going to stick with Kayvon.
Mm-hmm.
And then last but not least, I think the first wide receiver off the draft board will be blank.
So this is interesting. And I do definitely want to say like, this is maybe this is a little biased for me, but I'm going to say it's non-biased. I actually am going to go with Alabama's Jameson Williams on this. And I know a lot of people will argue that Ohio State's Garrett Wilson is a better wide receiver, things like that. He's definitely more talented. Where I kind of look at it, when I've been looking at these mock drafts, and a lot of it was today, like I already said, I threw in the towel, but I've been scanning some, I'll scroll through Twitter and scan. Like I don't study them religiously. Jameson Williams falls in the same spot every time and is the same like strength when rated, like who are the top players in the draft, falls in the same spot. A guy like Garrett Wilson, I've seen all over the map. I've seen him super early, top 10. I've seen him falling to the second round. I've seen his skill level, maybe the 5th best wide receiver in the draft, the number 1 wide receiver. So for me, that's not something that I'd like to see. We've mentioned the same 5 guys over this last, 35 minutes, because that's who the best guys are. So now you're introducing a new position at wide receiver. You want to see some consistency. So with Williams, I've actually seen more of that consistency there when being spoken about amongst analysts, things like that. So for me, I think at the end of the day, when someone has to choose a wide receiver, he's going to be the first off the board come Thursday. So little long-winded answer, but I know some Garrett Wilson fans might come for my neck for saying that. So I had to give some back thought to it. So
I have to respectfully disagree.
And that's okay.
I went with Garrett Wilson, and I went with him. I read probably, and just from today, obviously, like I probably read like 10 different mock drafts, and I would say he was the one that I saw most consistently going as the first wide receiver off the board.
I think that just shows, again, the reason why I don't read mock drafts, because they're all different.
And I saw, actually, before I saw Jameson, too, I saw a lot of Chris Olave. I saw him. I saw Garrett Wilson. I would say Garrett Wilson was who I saw most consistently. Right. And I do probably think, like we said, with the Jets at 10, I think Washington at 11. I think that's kind of where we're going to start to see the wide receivers come off the board. And I think it could be Garrett at one of those spots.
We could. I think that as well. That could be our first like spotlight of it. I can also actually seeing it being pushed back a couple more spots.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
It's a position that I think someone will definitely go in the first round. I think that's guaranteed. I think we might, as the draft goes on, we might see it get pushed a little bit more than what people thought.
I think we could see 4 in the first round.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's a very average number, to be honest, with obviously the amount of picks there are. But again, I think it might come more towards the middle or later half. So.
All right. Well, that was our game. A lot of good, interesting predictions there. Now I gotta pull up last year's game and see what we had said last year.
I know. That's what I get the most interested about. Like, what did we say?
Right?
Yeah.
Fascinating stuff.
Well, we did not pick Kadarius Toney to the New York Giants. I can freaking guarantee you that. I was thinking about that earlier because I was when all of that went down, I was so confused with what was going on because Dallas and Philly had made that swap, and like obviously Devontae Smith's off the board, so I'm crying obviously because I didn't want him to go. I didn't want him to go to the Philadelphia Eagles. Like that was my biggest thing, and so like everything just starts happening, and it's up to the Giants, and then like. I think that NFL does a really bad job with like announcing that a trade is happening and like what's going on. It's not really communicated well. So like, but Twitter's like already knew about it. It's like, I don't know how they knew about it. It's like, I'm looking at Twitter, waiting for them to talk about it on TV. It was the most stressful, like 3 minutes of my life for them to finally say, like, we did this stuff with the Bears and got Kadarius Toney. It was like, I had no idea what was happening.
I think we said last year, though, that we kind of, and Caitlin, you're on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter. But obviously, we were texting throughout the whole draft and everything like that. And I think our big complaint last year, I think it was your get it off your chest.
Oh, it was on Twitter before.
How everything was breaking on Twitter like a full minute or two before it would happen on TV. So it kind of like, if I was on Twitter, I would be putting my phone away for this year's draft and I like to watch it. I like to hear it live on TV rather than see it on Twitter, 2 minutes before.
But here's the problem with that, because I am on Twitter and so is our show is on Twitter. Obviously,
right.
I'll do the stuff for the show. We're then behind on our reaction. And it's like everyone else in the world made their fucking reaction. And then like, here we are 10 minutes late. Like that's how bad the delay was last year. And I'm like, why is it so bad? But I think I'm going to stick to that this year just because of how, at least with number 5, I think the Giants are going to again do something crazy at number 7. So I might need to go to Twitter to understand what they're doing because they did something crazy last year. And like I just explained, I had the biggest panic attack for 3 minutes of my life last year during the draft, not knowing what was going on. So let's just hope that that's not the case this year. It's just a smooth draft for us. Let's hope that.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, speaking of last year's Get It Off Your Chest, it is that part of the episode where we are going to talk about anything, well, hopefully draft related. Draft related, positive, negative, anything you want to say. So Katie, why don't you go ahead and get us started?
Mine is draft related. And as much as we have been talking about this upcoming draft for the last several episodes, this is the first time where I'm admitting to all of you that I'm not going to be able to watch much of the NFL draft this year. I will be away this week, and I'll actually be getting on an airplane at 8:00 at night on Thursday, right as the draft is starting. I'm going to a friend's bachelorette party. I am very excited about it. We're going to warm weather, much warmer than New Jersey, so no complaints there.
Yeah.
But it is going to be pretty wild, the fact that I'm basically taking off on a plane at the same time the NFL draft is starting with the New York Giants picking at 5 and 7. So yeah, just everybody know that when I land, I'm going to be turning my phone off airplane mode and finding out who we have. So Don't expect any initial reactions from me because speaking of finding out late, I will be finding out late. So
yes. So, and I know, and it's such a killer for me too, because obviously, like football, draft, Giants games, literally Katie and I are constantly start to finish these things talking about every little thing that's going on. So I'm still gonna text Katie like she's gonna answer me. So everything. So she's gonna probably land with airplane mode off. There's probably gonna be like 100 missed text messages from me because I'm gonna give you commentary on like everything. So
I want to turn it off, and I just want to see 2 text messages. This is who we took at 5. This is who we took at 7.
Oh, fine. Who am I going to text?
I can't read through all the fluff. Just give it to me straight.
Tell me what it is. Fine. I'll have to just like type to myself then. Who am I going to text during the show? And I'm not. Oh my God. So, all right, I'll figure that out. But I'll give you 2 straight, 5 and 7. Look for me on the text message. So I'll give them to you, obviously, throughout the weekend too. You focus on the bachelorette party. I'll send you the hot breaking news. So don't you worry. But yeah, I'll try to grab some thoughts from Katie on Friday and Saturday. We're doing so through text message. So I know I'm hopping on, I think 2 of our Giants friends podcast, like live streams on Thursday and Friday. So Katie, I'll be able to grab your thoughts on Friday and read them out to the crew. But Thursday, I forget which one I'll be on. It's our friends at Big Blue Avenue. Thursday, right after the number 5 pick, I think I'll be hopping on just to give initial reactions. I can't promise it's going to be anything amazing. It's just going to be like I don't know what's going on right now. So we'll see that. And then Friday, we obviously have a ton more going on. So we'll be able to do some cool things this weekend for sure. But yeah, speaking of cool things, so mine is, and I just found this out a couple days ago. So the Giants at the number 5 pick, Roger Goodell is actually going to take the stage with someone from mine and Katie's hometown of North Caldwell, New Jersey. His name is Sam Prince. He is a Make-A-Wish recipient. So his wish was to do this. And he actually found out Eli Manning called him and told him. So, yep. So he will do the 5th pick with Roger Goodell in Vegas. So Eli Manning called him. So Sam has been battling a heart condition for quite some time and recently received a heart transplant. He is doing much better after the transplant. So, props to that. Like, awesome. Like, very happy to hear that. But I just think this is so cool. I love when the NFL does stuff like this. Very awesome that it is that pick, that number 5 pick. And just also like Katie and I, that's where we grew up, North Caldwell, New Jersey. So clearly our show has the Jersey spin. That's where we're from. So it seems as if Sam hosts a podcast as well, sports related. So he had replied, I saw the tweet from Tom Rock. He is a New York Giants reporter. I saw the tweet. So then I saw the follow-up. Sam had said, thank you guys so much. I'm so excited. So gave Sam a couple likes. And I think, this might be a good opportunity for Katie and I to reach out and see if he wants to, collab on anything. Cause, same hometown, clearly. It's a very small town. You guys
give us Eli Manning's phone number.
Yeah, now that did he call you direct? Do you know what the number is? Like, send that. But so this is very close to home for Katie and I. Obviously, it's a very small town that we grew up in. So very cool. And again, just I'm so happy to hear that he's doing better after his heart transplant. And this is a really cool opportunity for him and really cool for the Giants and for the NFL to come together and to partner with Make-A-Wish. It's one of my favorite foundations in the world. So so excited to see something like this. So just props to that. Like, that makes me just so happy. So
Sam, give us somebody good at 5, Sam.
Someone did. Someone tweeted at him.
You was like, make an executive decision and switch what it is and read somebody else's name. Do what you got to do, my man.
That was the one of the tweets to him. Like, you better give us a good thing. And people were like, oh, it's not his decision. I thought the tweet was funny.
What you got to do, Sam. We're behind you.
Just, if you have to push Roger Goodell off the stage and be like, I'm taking over on this pick.
Oh, God.
Just lie. Say someone else's name if it's not who we
Exactly. Well, obviously, we know we've got the NFL draft in 2 days, but things that you do not want to miss this week. Reminder, this is a Tuesday, so this actually started already, but you can catch it on demand. Real Housewives of New Jersey started tonight at 8. Real Housewives of Orange County Reunion Part 2 on tomorrow at 9. The Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 14 premiere is this Sunday at 8. And the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 12 premiere 15 days away. A lot happening in the Housewives world. As far as where you can watch the NFL draft, the first round is going to kick off on Thursday from 8 to 11:30 p.m.
That's late.
It's going to continue on Friday with rounds 2 and 3. That will air from 7 to 11:30 p.m.
Also
and then
late.
it's going to finish out on Saturday, rounds 4 through 7 from 12 to 7 p.m. You can watch every round on ABC, ESPN, or NFL Network. Like Kate said, keep with us. We're going to try and, give you our reactions, our thoughts. Go Giants. Let's make it happen. Let's get some good players. And, everybody enjoy the draft. It's going to be a good one. And we cannot wait to talk about it on next week's show.
Oh, we're going to have so much to talk about. I've got the Alabama wine glass, putting those good vibes into the air still, but still, I know maybe at least number 5 will make a good decision. But the more I think about it, the more excited I am for Thursday. But yes, so we will, the next time we see you, the Giants are going to have some new team members. So cheers to that. Let's go.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye.